Your objective for lesson 13 is I will explore perimeter and solve problems. So we're still working with perimeter. We're just going to be solving problems with perimeter. So looking at the shape on the concept development, how can you use the information in that picture to find the perimeter of the shape? It says talk to a partner, but you don't have a partner to talk to. So based on what we did on the lesson before this, and finding the perimeter, we know that perimeter goes around, and we had to add up all of the sides to find the perimeter. Then how can we find the perimeter of this shape? By what it's giving us. So the side lengths we know, so all we had to do was look at all of the side lengths to find the perimeter, because all we have to do is add up all of the side lengths. So on your piece of paper, I want you to add up the side lengths and write your number equation to show what the perimeter of this shape is. Whenever you're ready to check that, you may push play. So 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 gives us 16 inches. Notice that we're not working with centimeters on this shape like we did in the last lesson, so make sure you write down what we're using and write that down correctly. Okay, same thing for this one. You have to talk with a partner. We know that if they give us the side lengths, that all we have to do is add those up to find the perimeter. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write the addition sentence that we would use for this shape to find the perimeter. And then I want you to add all of those up and write down what is the perimeter of this shape on your piece of paper. And whenever you're ready to check that, I want for you to push play. So 3 plus 9 plus 4 plus 8 gave us 24, and the M stands for meters. You didn't have to write out meters. You could have just put the letter M, and I would have known that it was also meters. Make sure, like I said in the last lesson, that you're using some type of strategy with these numbers to help you add them up. Start with numbers that will give you easy numbers to add with. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. This is the same thing, except you see that we've got, this is an odd looking shape. It's just like two triangles in one, so you've got to look at all of the side lengths carefully and make sure you're adding all of them up together. So on your piece of paper, add all of these side lengths up together to find the perimeter. And since I have a 12 and a 10, if I were you, I would add those together first, because you know anything's really easy to add to 10, and I know that 12 and 10 added together give me 22. And then you know that 7 and 7 give you 14, so you could always add that 14 to the 22 and then add your 5 at the end. So I want you to get your addition sentence written on your paper and add all of those side lengths up to find the perimeter of this shape. And whenever you're ready to check that, you may push play. So when you add all of the side lengths up, you get the perimeter of this shape being 41 centimeters. Okay, so that was a really short concept development because it just went over what we did before. If you can just remember that to find the perimeter, you add up all of the sides, then perimeter will be very simple. Okay, so make sure you have out your problem set. This problem set, all of the side lengths are already there for you, and this is going to be pretty much just like what we did on lesson 12, where we have to add all of the side lengths together to find the perimeter. It's just this one won't take as long because you don't have to measure the side lengths. So feel excited about that, because measuring side lengths does take a little while, especially when you have a lot of them to measure. So the first one, all the side lengths are there, and the measurements are already written on the page for you. 3 inches plus 8 inches plus 3 inches plus 8 inches. And when you add 8 plus 8 together, you know that that's 16. And I know that 3 plus 3 is 9. So when you add 16 and 9 together, you get an area of 22. Or I'm sorry, I said 3 plus 3 was 9. It's actually 3 plus 3 is 6, and whenever I have 16 plus 6, that gives me 22 inches. Okay, so now you're going to come over here to the square, and you're going to do the same thing. On your piece of paper, you're going to write down your addition sentence. You're going to see here that it says 4 centimeters, and they actually have the centimeters already there for you, so you're just going to have to write in the number 4 times. And by now, you should know that 4 times, which is the same thing as 4 times 4, is going to give us 16 centimeters. And I know that we work with multiplication when we're working with area, but when all of your side lengths are the same size, you can always write down a multiplication equation as well to help you solve it, because 4 times 4 is the same thing as adding 4 times. It's not like we're doing area with this shape. But if I were doing the area of this shape, the perimeter and the area would both be the same thing. So the only way, or how I would find the area of this square, was to measure or to multiply 4 times 4, and that gives me 16. And then whenever I add all of these 4s up together, that also gives me 16. And you'll see that later on in this module when we work with area and perimeter together. Some shapes have the same area and the same perimeter. And then some shapes have a different area and a different perimeter. Okay, so look at shape C. I'm going to let you go ahead and just do this one on your own. I want you to add up those 3 side lengths and then write down what the perimeter of that shape is. And whenever you're ready to check that, you may push play. So 11 plus 9 plus 6 gave us an area of 26 centimeters. We're going to do the same thing for shape D, adding 15 and 7 and 5 and 9. And whenever you have all of those added together with the perimeter written down, I want you to push play. And then you get 36 meters as the answer. And then this next one, 9 plus 9 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2, add those together to find the perimeter and push play whenever you're ready to check your answer. And that gave us 25 inches when you add all of those together. Okay, moving on to the back side. Number 2 says Alan's rectangular swimming pool is 10 meters long and 16 meters wide. So they just gave us the length and the width, but we know with a rectangle that all the opposite sides are equal. So since we know the length and the width, we know the opposite sides for those as well. So in order to find the perimeter, we know that we're going to have to add all 4 of these lengths together. So make sure whenever you're answering this question that you do put the equation and you write down all 4 of these numbers added together. And then you're answering the question in a complete sentence by telling what the perimeter is. So I want you to go ahead and get all of that stuff written down for number 2, and whenever you're ready to check your answer, you may push play. So you should have had 16 plus 16 plus 10 plus 10. If I were you, I would have used some type of strategy. I know 10 plus 10 is 20. And I know with 16 plus 16, some of you might not know that, but 16 plus 16 is 32. So whenever I have 32 and 20 together, that gives me 52. So the perimeter of the pool was 52 meters. You didn't have to spell out meters. You could just put the letter M. Lila measures each side of the shape below, and they're already written on there for you. So part A says, what is the perimeter of the shape? Please make sure that whenever you're writing down the perimeter that you're writing down the addition sentence. I know that you may get tired of doing that, but that's just you showing your work. And in math, it's always good to show your work and always put some type of equation if there is an equation to put. And with perimeter, there's always going to be an equation to put. And so once you've wrote down your equation and added up all of those side lengths, you need to write in a complete sentence what the perimeter of Lila's shape is. So whenever you have part B done, or part A, I want you to push play so you can check your answer. So 4 plus 6 plus 2 plus 3 plus 9 gave us 24. You probably could have added 6 and 4 together first because that gave us 10. And 9 and 3 would have given us 11. And then 11 and 2 would have given us 13. Or not 13. I'm sorry, 9 and 3 gave us 12, and then 12 and 2 gave us 14. So whenever you have 10 and 14 together, that gives you 24 inches. So the perimeter of the shape was 24 inches. So part B says, Lila says the shape is a pentagon. Is she correct? Explain why or why not. Well, a pentagon, this is something that you should remember from like 2nd grade, possibly, or maybe 1st grade. I don't remember when you would have learned this, but a pentagon is a shape that has 5 sides. And the best way, I'm going to type it out real fast because this is the best way that I remember it, pentagon. pentagon, at the beginning of it, it says penta, and it says gon, like a polygon, and then some of those words end with the gon. So penta has P-E-N-T-A, and that has 5 letters whenever you say penta. So that always helps me remember pentagon is going to have 5 sides because P-E-N-T-A has 5 letters. So that might be something that helps you remember it as well. But a pentagon is something that has 5 sides. So when we go up here and count this, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different side links. And it says, yes, Lila is correct. The shape is a pentagon because it has 5 sides. So this looks like 2 triangles put together, and it probably is, but since this shape has 5 sides, it is a pentagon. So just remember, anything that has 5 sides is going to be a pentagon. It just has to be a closed shape. It can't have like any openings in it. So if you didn't remember what a pentagon is, now you know what a pentagon is, and I gave you a way to help you remember what a pentagon is. Just remember that P-E-N-T-A, 5 letters, 5 sides. Okay, so that lesson was pretty short and simple. If you just remember to add up all the side links and make sure you're adding correctly, because if you don't add correctly, then you're not going to get the right perimeter. So work on this exit ticket. Whenever you're finished with that, you may bring it to me.